Hey, everybody. Happy Thursday. Thanks for coming back for the 7-Minute Mindset series. My name is Michelle. I'm your certified professional coach, your meditation teacher, and your mindset elevation expert. So let's get started today on diving into the difference between feelings and emotions. You might be thinking, what? We typically refer to feelings and emotions interchangeably, but there is a difference. And modern neuroscience is actually telling us that every experience that we have actually registers in the body as what they call a feeling state or feeling tone, which is different from an emotion. So we often use those terms interchangeably, but as you'll see, as we get into this a little more, you'll see why it's important to make that distinction between the feeling states and the feeling tones. Or excuse me, between the feeling tones and the emotions. See, even I get them confused. And so what we're talking about when we say that every experience registers some type of feeling state in the body, we're talking about three primary feeling states. And that's very simple. We see things as pleasant, neutral, or unpleasant. So, for example, if you walk outside and the weather is a certain way, that's going to register immediately for you as pleasant, neutral, or unpleasant. And then from that is when the emotions arise. So those primary feeling state or those feeling states we call the primary feeling states. And the emotions are actually secondary to that because they arise from those three primary states. So while we have three feeling states, we actually have a whole range of emotions that come up from them. We have anger, fear, happiness, joy, whatever it might be that arise for us in the particular moment. So the feeling state arises with the experience, and the emotion then arises from the state. And what we're going to do is begin to work with the feeling states. And specifically, we're going to start working with the unpleasant feeling state. And we're going to start working with understanding how we can tolerate unpleasant things for longer periods of time. And you might ask, why would I want to tolerate something unpleasant? Don't I just want to get rid of it and try and move to something pleasant or neutral? But here's the thing. What mindfulness really teaches us is about how to relate to things in the present moment, in the present moment. And if we are constantly pushing against trying to get rid of those unpleasant feeling states, that takes a lot of energy away from us. We're spending so much energy resisting against the unpleasant feeling states. And I just want to very kindly ask you, how's that really working out for you? If you are spending so much time resisting and pushing against the things that you don't like, how much could it free you up if you could learn to relate to those experiences a little bit better? Doesn't mean you have to like them or love them. When I say relate to them better, I mean, as mindfulness teaches us, just to recognize what's going on in the present moment and that unpleasant feeling state is going to change. It's going to give way to something else because everything is temporary, even the pleasant feeling states and the neutral ones. So we're going to be working with that resistance to the feeling states. And that resistance is actually a very catabolic, draining, tearing down energy. No wonder you're exhausted and fatigued and anxious if you're always trying to resist against the unpleasant things in your life. That makes perfect sense, right? So this brings me to the best equation ever. Get ready. Are you sitting down? Are you like strapped in? Because this, when I heard this, and it's still, when I think about this, it just changes how I see a situation. There was a mindfulness teacher named Shenzhen Yang who came up with this equation, and it's very simple. Suffering equals pain times resistance. So let that sink in for just a moment. All of the suffering that we have is because we are resisting against the pain. Pain is inevitable in life. That is true. But suffering is not inevitable. So just think mathematically about that equation for a second. If you have a pain event that is a 10 and you are resisting against it 10 times, then your suffering is 100. But if you have that same pain experience and it's a 10 and your resistance to it is maybe at a 5 or a 2, then you're looking at suffering of 50 or 20. And many people have heard that the Buddhists say that life is suffering. That's actually been misquoted. It's actually in the translation, it got kind of garbled. It's actually that life is pain. And if we can stop resisting against that pain, we can start to reduce, I don't want to say eliminate, reduce our suffering and stop spending all that catabolic energy resisting. So how do we start to do that? Well, here's some really quick tips for just beginning to work with that resistance. First of all, you can just start to recognize the resistance that you're having to the unpleasant experience. Where do you notice that showing up in the body? Are you noticing a tightening of the jaw, clenching of the fist, furrowing of the brow, something going on in the stomach? And then you can start to build your tolerance muscle, just like working out, just like flexing that bicep and lifting a heavy weight. You can start to build the tolerance to the unpleasant experience. So what that means, for example, in your formal meditation practice, if you notice an itch coming on, our mind wants to be like, oh God, just scratch it, just make it stop, hurry up, just stop. If you can just, even for a few more moments, practice just being with that itch, that unpleasant experience, that will start to build your tolerance. So start working with things that are just mildly unpleasant, some little itch or some little tickle, and just start seeing how long you can be with that mildly unpleasant thing. And we'll start to build the tolerance for things that are a little more unpleasant. That's it for today. I'd be curious, really curious to see what you think of that equation and how you can incorporate that into your life and what that might shift for you. So come back tomorrow. I think we're nearing the end. We might only have 1 or 2 videos left. So thanks so much. Enjoy the rest of your day.